Greetings, my friends. Jimmer Lins here with your Source Filmmaker Tip of the Day. Today is Tip of the Day number 36. As always, thank you for tuning in, for subscribing to my YouTube channel, and for being generally cool people. I am consistently humbled and pleased by the wonderful feedback that I get from all of you lovely folks, so I really appreciate it. In today's Tip of the Day, I am going to show you how to freeze particle systems in place so you can produce effects like this one. As you can see, I am animating a camera through some frozen explosion effects. And the first question will be, how did you do that? Well, you will find it is not difficult to do. It is relatively straightforward once you understand the process. Basically, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to modify an existing particle system and create new particle systems that are going to have some different attributes on them to freeze them in place. And to demonstrate what I'm talking about, I'm just going to go ahead and delete these two particle systems, these animation sets. So now they're going to be gone. Go back to the top, and I'm going to go, and you're going to have to go into the particle editor tool to do this. So I'm going to go into the particle editor tool. I'm going to hit File and Open, and there's an oft repeated issue that people note. Usually when you first start Source Filmmaker, you're going to find that if you go into the particle editor tool, that you will be in this folder. Steam Apps, Common, Source Filmmaker, Game, User Mod, Particles. And there are no particle systems there. Your particle systems aren't going to be there, or the ones that we're interested in will not be. You can put particle systems in here once you create them, but you're not going to find them in here. And in order to find the ones that we're going to be interested in, you have to go up 2 folders, to the game folder, then you go down to TF, then to particles. So easy enough. And what we're going to do is we're going to take an existing particle system here, explosion.pcf, and we'll just open it. And we'll scroll down here until we find explosion core buildings. Oh man, that flashy one gives me a headache. Where is it? Explosion. There it is. Explosion core buildings. Boom. And it keeps on booming. So in order to create a frozen particle effect, it's really, really easy. Once you select the particle effect that you want over here on the left, then you just scroll down here in the properties. Just go to System Properties up there if it's not already selected. Scroll down until you find Freeze Simulation After Time, and you'll note it's set to like 10 million here. I don't know if this is seconds or not, but I usually will try, say, about 0.1. And if you try 0.01, it's a slightly different effect. Actually, that's kind of nice. So 0.01, we'll go with 0.01. And we'll pretend it's 100th of a second. I don't actually know if that's the case or not, but because I don't know if it maps these numbers to seconds. But whatever it is, that's a good value for us. And so as you know, it freezes the animation. So now we're done. I could actually modify some other ones. I could also duplicate this and create modified versions of it. I'm going to not hit save. If I hit save, I will be overwriting explosion.pcf, and then any future versions of this that I do will have this modified explosion, and all of my core buildings will just simply freeze after a second and stay there. And that's not what I want. Also, if I modify this and Valve updates the Source Filmmaker, it'll clobber any changes that I've made. So I'm going to hit save as, and I'm going to say explosion_freeze.pcf. Now, because I did this earlier, this file will already exist, and it'll say overwrite existing file, and I will say yes. And then we will wait. And while we wait, I will sip my tea. That's good. And in a moment, it'll ask me if I want to add it to Perforce, and I do not. Now that we're done, I'm going to switch to the Source Filmmaker. I'm going to go and I'm just going to say create animation set for new particle system. I'm going to browse. I'm going to find my custom explosion_freeze. Now keep in mind, explosion freeze contains all of the particle systems that explosion did, but it has one that's been modified. So when I do this, explosion core buildings is already selected. I'm just going to hit OK. And as always, we have to scrub out and scrub back in for the explosion effect to be apparent. And it's right on top of this spy. So, okay, I'm going to clone the work camera. So I think we might move this a little bit so it's more, I don't know, it looks a little bit more like he actually got hit by it instead of like it hit him in the chest. So we can do this. I'm going to use the translate tool. We'll move it over. Apparently it doesn't want, oh, that's right. It won't move until I've scrubbed in and out. Okay, yeah, that's a little better. It's close enough for government work anyway. So now when I go here and I switch to this this. Now, when we do this, we will see that the explosion is frozen in place. And I only let it. I only left the. It only was alive for 5 seconds. You got to change the emission duration to be long enough for it to continue to display. All right, so now when we go back, we should see, yes. So now when the camera animates around, you can see there's this lovely little explosion effect in the background, and it is frozen in place. And you can do this yourself and have no trouble. Now, I am going to show you an issue that you will run into if you're not careful. And this is something that you can probably avoid by changing the name of the particle system when you modify the particle system in the particle editor. If I don't change the name, notice that this is still called Explosion Core Buildings, and the name in the animation set editor is just Explosion Core Buildings 1, but the underlying particle system is called Explosion Core Buildings. Let's watch what happens if I add another new particle system, and I just pick Explosion again, and I add this. Now keep in mind, I'm adding another particle system. It's not the same one, but if I do, let's say I'll set it to 0.5 seconds, and we'll make it 30 seconds, and click OK. Now what you're going to find is that the original particle system also is no longer frozen, and that's because by loading the new one, it keys off of the name Explosion Core _ Buildings, and it said, oh, you've loaded another particle system with Explosion Core _ Buildings in it, and so I'm going to replace the animation. So you can avoid this by either giving your particle systems, when you change them, fully unique names, or by simply not loading any particle systems from the original particle system file during your thing. So either one of those will work. But just keep in mind, if you suddenly find all of your particle systems that you froze reanimating, you're just going to need to, the fastest way to fix this problem, let me show you. If you run into this problem, is just create an animation set for a new particle system, and I'm just going to browse down to Explosion _ Freeze. I'm going to open it. Doesn't even matter what I set it to, because I'm just going to spawn one and I'm going to delete it. And now when I go back to the beginning, my particle system is frozen again, because now it picked the one from the frozen definition. So like I said, the next time I do this, I will definitely be giving them names that are unique within this thing. I might prefix it with my name or something like that to make sure it's fully unique, however you want to do it. But that's just a gotcha that you might run into, is that whenever you load a particle system that has in it a name of one that you've already used, the one that is already spawned will take the new definition that you just loaded. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. I hope it makes sense. Anyway, that is your tip of the day: how to create frozen particle systems and animate cameras through them and create all kinds of cool effects. And this will work for any particle system as far as I know. That way you can create all kinds of cool effects with stop motion and frozen time stuff. That has been your Source Filmmaker tip of the day, number 36. As always, I am at your disposal. I am your friend, Jimmer Lins. I hope you're having a great day and enjoy using Source Filmmaker.